Well, it's official. Leonhart has responded to the criticism of his trade-up challenge video. Now, before we get into dissecting his response, I'd like to highlight something very important. And that is the fact that he's even acknowledging and even responding to any sort of criticism is a massive step in the right direction. Because historically, Leonhart has always had the habit of ignoring any sort of criticism and staying silent. That was his go-to. It didn't matter how bad it got. It didn't matter how bad the, like to dislike ratio was. He always stayed silent. It's a very common tactic that a lot of large creators do. Now, in my opinion, I think it can be a good thing, but at the same time, I think it could be self-destructive. Because if you keep getting yourself into controversy, and if the audience always sees that you constantly staying silent with every single one, well, there is going to be a breaking point somewhere where people either unsubscribe or just completely lose faith in you as a content creator. And I think Leonhart has finally realized that. I think the audience really appreciates communication and just blatant transparency. That's exactly why content creators such as Cool Train Orion are held at such a high regard, because a lot of people appreciate how blunt and transparent he is with his audience. Even Pokerev, although there's a large amount of people who dislike him, he at least tries his best to be transparent and communicate with his audience when situations and controversies do arise. So what I'm trying to say is that the audience really appreciates when a content creator, especially the one as famous as Leonhart, is trying to communicate with his audience. Now, in Leonhart's response, I feel like there was a lot of good things that he admitted to and that he actually openly took accountability for. But also there is a few things that I think needed some clarification. Because in situations like this, when there's a large brigade of people attacking one creator, the main criticism gets distorted and muddled as time goes on. That goes for any large drama that pretty much ever plagued YouTube as a whole. People forget why they're angry and often resort to personal attacks about said person, which I don't condone. So I urge people to actually listen to the criticism at hand and actually go with that instead of, attacking him as a person or attacking his, his appearance or somewhat. I think that puts yourself in a way disadvantaged position on the morality scale, at least. If your argument is grounded in some sort of truth and some sort of valid criticism, chances are more people are going to listen to you. But if you decide to attack somebody based on, like physical attributes or whatnot, I think that will kind of worsen your position in the whole, debate. Now, I know I'm yapping a lot, but bear with me. I want to highlight one last thing, okay? And that is, I'm in a peculiar position, okay? On one hand, if I don't make a video about Leonhart's response, I'm going to be viewed as somebody who is just simply ignoring him and the actual things that he is trying to take accountability for. Now, on the other hand, if I do make a video about Leonhart, I'm going to be viewed as somebody who's just taking advantage of his image just for my personal gain. Now, I'm going to go with the latter option, and that is simply because if I'm going to make a video openly criticizing Leonhart, I'm also going to give him the benefit of the doubt and make a video highlighting, just his point of view in hopes of, maybe clarifying a few things to the audience. I'd like to comment on a few things regarding my trade-up video. What was supposed to be a fun trade-up challenge video with the community has turned into something bigger that I'd like to address. Something bigger that I now understand how it was perceived. However, I do want the community to know that this was not what it was intended. I've never done a trade-up challenge video before, but got excited when the community recommended I try one out. The video was supposed to be about the amazing people you meet along the way of your trading journey and how we work together to see how far we can go. And that is completely understandable. And I also think that's not really the main criticism that people have. People are not saying that Leonhart intentionally tried to, maliciously take advantage of these vendors and people that he met. No, that's not it at all. I think Leonhart is a good guy at heart. I don't think he intentionally wanted to do that or take advantage of other people. I think more or less the criticism is actually about the concept of the challenge itself, and when a very large creator such as himself does it. That being said, the video was not perceived that way, and in fact came across a different look, and for that I want to let you know that I understand and want to take accountability, and to let you know that I'm listening to your feedback. I know words are words, but I hope you give me a chance to take action going forward. Now, I like this response right here because, number one, he's not apologizing, and I don't think he should be apologizing, in fact. I think it's good that he didn't, actually. Quite surprisingly, I know people are going to be surprised that I said that. I don't think the audience needs an apology from him, because in the end, it was just simple constructive criticism about how people didn't like the idea of the challenge, because it felt kind of unfair and a misrepresentation about the average person in that position. It felt like a very fake and disingenuous video, and I feel like that's the main issue that people had with it. Now, you're allowed to completely disagree with that sentiment. You're allowed to think that this wasn't really a situation to begin with, but the matter of the fact is, a lot of people felt like that, and me included. So I think the best option that Leonhart has is simply listening to the feedback and understanding that at the moment, this is not really the type of content that people want to see. That is all. Making sure that anybody I spoke to at the show was comfortable was a priority. I made sure to continuously mention that there was no pressure to trade and that this was for fun. I met incredible people that day, whether we traded or not. I did not receive any correspondence from anybody having any issues post-event. If anybody from the event does have an issue, you're more than welcome to reach out and to see how I can help resolve things. Well, that last part about people not really having any issues post-event, that isn't exactly true, because there was a vendor that reached out into the comments that said, only reason I did the trade with him in that video was because he was going to shout out my event for TCGCon here in Dallas. I was the one who traded the 2 Evolutions PSA 9s for his Charizard. Looking back, he never included what I said in the video. So there is one instance of a unhappy customer. Going back to the thing where Leonhart made sure the vendors were very comfortable and not pressured, well, that is not really true. I'm not saying Leonhart directly forced them, and hell, he could even treated them as kings. But the very, very concept of the challenge itself is very corrosive and destructive. Because regardless of how good you treat the vendor, the very nature of the challenge itself is going to create a very unrealistic outcome. And that unrealistic outcome is exactly why people have a problem with it. But the matter of the fact is, people don't like it. And as a creator, I believe it is wise, which he is doing at the moment. He is acknowledging that people don't like seeing it. And that is just the most important thing about the whole situation. Now, so far, everything has been pretty good. But this part especially, I think I have a massive issue with. And it reads, the end card itself, as mentioned in the video, was either to have been used to begin the next trade-up challenge and then give away at the end of the video, or I begin the next trade-up challenge back at 0 and just give the card away on Twitter where I've been doing giveaways. I had already given a ungraded Moonbreon and Sumbreon online and had hinted at doing a PSA 10 Sumbreon giveaway next if I could get one. So I did do a giveaway for the card as soon as my previous giveaway, the Iona's Belly Bold, ended on Monday. Regardless of the path, the card was meant to be given to the community and not kept for myself. I looked back on Leonhart's video, and the end card that he was insinuating never highlighted the fact that he was going to give away that card. The only thing that he said was maybe he was going to do another trade-up challenge starting with the Moonbreon. Not Sunbreon, by the way. It's another freaking Moonbreon. It's a blood moon in the background. Nowhere in the whole entire video, and I've watched it a few times, did Leonhart suggest or insinuate that he was going to give this card away or give it away on his second trade-up challenge, which is just a weird aspect to me, because if you're going to give the card away, how about you give it away in the first video, not the second video you do about the trade-up challenge? It doesn't really make quite a lot of sense. However, to be fair, he did end up giving away that Moonbreon PSA 10 that was from the trade-up challenge video on his Twitter. But the problem is, he only did that after the fact that he got a lot of backlash from his video. Now, I'm not saying Leonhart never had the intentions of doing the giveaway in the first place, because at the end of the day, I don't know that. But can you really blame your audience for thinking otherwise when you've never stated inside of your video? But even in the case of giving that card away, people don't know if you gave it away because you got the backlash or because you always intended to give that card away. At the end of the day, nobody knows the intentions Leonhart had. But I also can't blame people for thinking that he only gave the card away because of the backlash. Because, I feel like the timing kind of adds up. So in this case, where he was saying that he was going to do a giveaway that he mentioned at the end of the video, well, that's pretty false. Nobody knew that he was going to give that card away for his even second trade-up challenge video. That was never stated, so I kind of understand the confusion that people have. Now, moving on to the rest of his statement, I'd also like to comment on how the trade with Courtney was perceived. Courtney was the fan at the early stages of the trade-up challenge, the one who gave Leonhart the Mew card. Courtney is an incredible person and fan of the channel, and we did all we can to be informed of any value of cards in a trade before acceptance, along with myself mentioning multiple times that she did not have to accept any trade. It was kind of her to do the trade, and as a thanks, I told her to email me right after we did the trade so I can send her special thanks for helping me out. Some very nice cards. I think that's good, and a lot of people mentioned about Courtney, and I don't think she was treated unfairly at all. I think it was just, at the end of the day, it was her decision to trade with him, as well as, all the vendors. But again, the main aspect that people have a problem with is the very nature of the challenge itself, which I mentioned before. And also the fact that, at least on paper, and what it just really seemed like, was that Leonhart was simply just taking from his fans and leveraging his popularity and fame to reach an end goal without even thinking about, giving away the card, which again was never stated in his video. So it kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And that is only amplified when a lot of people see in Leonhart's video where he makes a lot of unreasonable requests for trades. So yeah, can you really blame people for just having a bad taste after the video? Again, if there's anybody from the show that has not reached out but did have an issue, by all means, please reach out to me and I'm happy to help. Overall, I think this was a solid response, okay? He didn't directly apologize, which I don't think he needed to. I think he's more or less understanding that this type of content is just not really favored well with a lot of people. And I think that alone is a step in the right direction. The fact that he's even acknowledging the issue and trying to move forward from it is good. I like to see that. There were some elements to his response that I thought were kind of untruthful and needed some clarification, so that's why I did it in the first place. I think, Leonhart, dude, you're not a bad guy. Nobody's insinuating that. Okay, maybe some people in the comments, but excluding those people, I think the very nature of the challenge is just not really favored well for a lot of people. And the fact that he's, acknowledging that is, again, a step in the right direction. I'm glad he's doing this. Overall, I give the response a 7.7 out of 10. That is all. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you later, weebs.
せーのでもそん